Looking to Make a Difference with GAIL is being recorded live at the Martin A. Kessler Families. Welcome, Patrick Donohue.
Thank you, Gail.
Patrick, you are a former combat veteran from the 101st Airborne. You are a husband and father of 3 and the founder and president of Project 9 Line. I love this whole idea of trying to integrate our veterans, reintegrate them back into civilian life through your projects and art. Tell me about the title and where it came from, Patrick.
Oh, first of all, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
It's a blessing to be here, and I'm honored to share the word of what we do. Our name comes from a 9-line medevac. It's actually the call for help on the battlefield. It's 9 pieces of information in order, so the person on the other side of the radio can get what's happening really fast, so he can send a helicopter to save the life of your brother and sister on the battlefield. So it's how you save the life of your comrade. So we are that here in America.
I know that number 9 is special to you, as we had discussed.
Yeah.
Patrick, I mentioned that quote, "Every war has its own signature wounds." What does that mean to you?
Well, in terms of what that wound is for these wars, you think? Well, I hate to say it, but I don't think we've come to grasp what that is, because there's a few things that are plaguing some of us that have been around for a while, and then a similar one that's for different reasons. The Vietnam veterans have Agent Orange. And my father was just admitted yesterday. He's in ICU, actually, at the VA.
Sorry to hear that.
Me too. He's fighting through it, though. And that's a result of Agent Orange. And we, Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, lived next to burn pits, where we burned everything that you can think of, including what I think is the main detriment is plastic. We burned plastic water bottles by the 10,000s and 10,000s a day. And we lived right next to it. So I believe that as the years go on, that the implications of that will start to show. And myself, I have a brain tumor, and I only know that that's from the burn pit because someone else from my platoon, who's younger than me, also has a brain tumor. So out of 27 of us, 2 35-year-olds and younger have both developed brain tumors, and different cancers are coming out of it. So I don't know if we really have a good scope of what that is yet. But post-traumatic stress has been around for a while. It's called different things. So right now I would say that is the
That is the key answer.
Yeah.
All right, Patrick. Patrick, I know that when the Army enlists many recruits, it's usually between the ages of 18 to 24. And yet you were well established in a career, stocks, landscaping, and here you were at 27 when you enlisted. So there was a great appeal for you. And I know that you told me that you visited Grandpa George's grave, and then within a few days you enlisted. What did Grandpa mean to you?
Pop was a World War II vet. He was in the, he's in what was the Air Force later on. The Air Force didn't exist. It was the Air Guard. And he was just a great man. And I went to his grave, actually, the 20th of June, just a few days ago, on the 3rd year anniversary of his death.
Beautiful.
And at the time, I was a stockbroker. It was 2008. I was at a place in life where I needed a change. And Pop, is what we call him, spoke to me from the grave and said, "Go help the boys." And I went home and told my wife that I was going to be joining the Army, and she said, "Okay." And I went to the recruiting station on Monday. I never went back to work.
Unbelievable how special you are and all that you are doing. What was your mindset when you enlisted? Did you know anything about PTSD?
I did not. I didn't know anything about the Army or what it would mean to me or how much it would change me, both positive and negative, or what the troops were going through. I just really wanted to help. I wanted to make a difference, and I felt like they needed me. And I believe that I made the right decision.
I'm sure that you have. We all are. Patrick, I know it's not always easy to share this information with other people. It does, of course, stir up old wounds. And I know that Michael Conley said you can't patch a wounded soldier with a Band-Aid. However, you make this attempt and you reach out to people. Why is this so important for you?
Well, communication is key to overcoming any traumatic experience. And people suffer many different traumas that affect them in many different ways. And mine were combat related. But anyone who's ever been through a traumatic experience can relate to that. And speaking about them, although it's hard, it improves over time. Communication is key, and that's why we do what we do at Project 9 Line. We're opening up those communication lines, because maybe speaking about it might not be a first, instinct or response, but getting to communicate through different arts is a way to open the door for that. So, and that was true for me again. So, a lot of what we do stems from the experiences that I've had, both good and bad.
Correct, right.
So, yeah.
And you have helped how many soldiers, do you think, or how many veterans?
Actually, 2,200 veterans.
Fabulous.
Just over 2,200 veterans have participated in our programs, come to our events, which are all free.
And we're going to get into them in a moment.
In just over 2.5 years. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And in just over 2.5 years, you have managed to get all of these programs.
Yeah.
But 2012, you were deployed to Afghanistan, and you were with the Strike Brigade Combat Team. And your goal was to rid the Taliban out of a place called Kandahar. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. We were actually part of a reinvasion, a surge, in 2010. And our orders came down, and we were the first to go. We actually had no deployment on our radar for like 2 years. But when Obama said we're sending a surge, we reinvaded Kandahar, which is where the Taliban is from. And it was a very dangerous mission at first until we grabbed our foothold and took over more and more land. And many of my brothers were, out in the mix. And I had a very cushy job, which affects me a lot because I trained to do something and then I'm really good at something else. So I was pulled from the people I trained with. So that affects me a lot.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to see a very quick video, and I want to set this up. The video is you sending something home to your family. It's a very short video. Do you remember, before we show it, what thoughts went through your mind?
I don't. I forgot it was even filmed until I found it. I Googled myself, and I found it.
Okay, let's take a quick look at this 30-second video, and then I'm going to ask you what you would tell that person today.
Okay. Hello, family. Patrick Donohue here. Afghanistan. Getting cold out. It's holiday season. Happy holidays to you. Merry Christmas. I love you guys. I miss you. To my beautiful wife, my beautiful girls, beautiful son. I miss you and love you. I'll see you very soon. Mom, Dad, Tim, Tom. I miss you guys too. Love you.
Patrick, what are your thoughts when you see that?
It brings back a lot of memories. I was in a valley called the Arghandab River Valley, and just seeing the mountains, they were all around us, which really left us out to be a big target. I mean, because they were in the mountains, the enemy. Our mission was to draw them out of the mountains, and we did. But to do so, we had to be in the valley as a target for many months. And so it just brings back memories of that,
What would you tell that young man today? What advice would you give young Patrick?
Stay low, low drag, and it's going to be all right.
It's going to be all right. I love that. Now, how did this help you with your goal with Project 9 Line? This mission, how did it help you?
Well, when I got home, I very much had trouble reintegrating to society, both in the Army still, and then when I got out of the Army. And I struggled very much so. And I was the last one to know I needed help.
That is so key. There are many people and people who are watching and families of people who are watching, and they're not sure something's wrong. but they're not quite sure what it is. So let's talk a little bit about that. I know that you were eager to get back home. And after that video, you were on a plane and you shared with me that you had maybe survivor's guilt, anticipation, and had difficulty getting off the plane. And Patrick, you were not the only one who felt that way. So what were some of the symptoms of PTSD, and how can people become adept at recognizing it, if not in themselves, maybe in others that they're seeing that they can help? Because that's what the show is all about.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is it's called post-traumatic stress, and that post could be very soon or very far after a traumatic experience. For me, it was immediate and hard to understand because I didn't want to get off the plane. Like, avoidance is a huge factor for post-traumatic stress, and I was avoiding. When they opened, we were on the tarmac, and we landed at Fort Campbell in a commercial jet. You know, we switched planes a few times, and the families, you could see American flags, tons of families. You'd think that would be appealing because I've been looking forward to that for a year. And at that moment, I did not want to get off the plane. I wish they'd close the doors and send me back.
So at the time that you're feeling this, you don't even understand what's going on.
And I don't realize that I think I'm unique in thinking that way. And the funny thing is, I picture that moment as gripping the seat I'm sitting on.
Okay.
And the attendants, like, you got to get off. I wasn't the only one still in my seat gripping.
Absolutely. Did you maybe experience some hypervigilance as well?
Immediately. I was unable to even, go to Walmart.
Patrick, many people do not realize that when you're trying to overcome such adversity in your life, that it's not going to happen overnight. And just as the PTSD does seem to happen overnight, it doesn't. But the same as when you're going to be cured from it, or when you're going to work on it. So things take a lot of time. Let's go over some of the symptoms. You talked a little bit about the fear. Let's talk about maybe the hypervigilance. What is that, and how did that affect you?
Well, I'm not sure if we ever completely are healed of this. We recover from it, and it's a daily process like some other types of illnesses. You got to work at it. For me, it's up and down. Some days I'm good, some days I'm not. For me, the symptoms that affect me and have affected me, anxiety, anger, avoidance, hypervigilance, forget it. These are things that affect me still. And I have to really do a lot to manage them and be proactive so I can stay well.
It's a struggle, but it's something that you cannot give up. It's something that you have to stay with because it's worth it. It truly is. Life is beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, 1 out of every 3 combat veterans does end up having PTSD. 1 out of every 5 who has gone to war, who's not in a combat situation. And unfortunately, we have a good 10% who have attempted suicide. So we do know that. But many people coming back, many veterans are not aware that they're going through all of this angst. And again, purpose is to educate them and to know that there is something out there and people out there who truly do care. But you mentioned some of the symptoms. Now, when you came back and you couldn't be in groups with other people, it makes you feel even more alienated. And you wonder what's wrong with yourself, correct? So you have people who are coming back. Now, let's add to that some of the wars, maybe not as popular as other wars, and the recognition that you receive, the jobs that are no longer there, the relationships, unfortunately, that do break up, the stigmas attached. Is it any wonder that our returning veterans are reacting?
Well, the things we go through affect us, and the community, there's a lot of people and services and organizations and government entities that really want to assist, and it is a community issue, but it's on the veteran or the person who's been through a traumatic experience to really want to change and then make some actions too, because it's not easy. I spent a lot of time before I was willing to go to the VA and get help, and it took my cousin's commander to say you gotta go for help, and I finally accepted it, and that's when my life changed. And it's been up and down, for sure.
Right, it's not going to be all smooth sailing. So the first thing that I'm hearing from you is that you must, first of all, admit that there is a problem.
Yeah.
2, you would want to correct the problem. 3, you have to work at it and know what places to go to.
It's not easy. No one wants to admit that, they're, changed or have something that affects them negatively. It's hard.
Absolutely. Now, your cousin you did mention, and I'm sorry for your loss. He did die at the Veterans Medical Center in 2012, and this impacted you profoundly.
Well, it did. Both, I followed in his footsteps in joining somewhat. It was part of one of the reasons, and he made it. He survived a very, very crazy thing over there. Purple Heart, survived something that he probably shouldn't have, and came home and was unable to reacclimate. And that's part of the driving force behind what we do, what I choose to spend my life doing.
What I love, and you share this with me, is that writing, and you're going to get that poem out, writing has helped you tremendously.
Yeah.
And I know that in having taught high school and college creative writing, what I would have my students do is use it as catharsis. So if somebody is having a problem out there, just get your thoughts out, put it on paper. Doesn't matter what you do with it, but you've got to get it out there. And you wrote the most poignant poem, and you were so kind to share it with us. Going to ask if you would be
all right. Can I explain the backstory a little bit? So I read an essay. I was in the VA in a very specialized post-traumatic stress unit that they have here in Northport, one of the best in the country. And I read an essay, and it motivated me. It made me want to write. And I was like attempting to write a song, really. It's still a poem at this time. Maybe one day we can make it into a song. I'll read it now, and then I'll explain a little more. This is the first thing I ever wrote that a teacher didn't make me write. So that's pretty cool. I didn't quite memorize it yet. And the name of it is Passion Takes Substances Daily. It's PTSD following. The losses suffered, unforgettable. The things we did stuck, often regrettable. A combat veteran feared, I'm the son of Satan. Gotta catch your flight, die, a permanent vacation. A beard in a robe, mandals fits your description. I am death in a hood, a sickle, your prescription. On a crusade, who? Your tending physician. A warlord Mozart, a battlefield musician. Sorry, Fort Jackson, you're an outcast, a Martian. Training has been relaxing. I can shoot, I'm a marksman. My pervasive experience is profound, full of grief. This verse is in remembrance of all the deceased. Recognizing this allows me to see, when lost it is love, no longer do I be. No longer apart can I integrate. Flush with fear stuck, I procrastinate. The collective thoughts came from herself. Bring it, it's been brought, told by himself.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Share a little bit more.
So I read this essay written by an expert at PTSD, and it made me want to write. And around that time, my life changed, and all of this came from that. And I wrote that, and then I wrote another one. And then I realized they were both 9 verses, completely unintentional. And then I looked at the essay, and it's 9 paragraphs. So then I set out to write 9, and it was grueling and excruciatingly painful. But I wrote another 7, 9 verse poems, so I had 9. And then I'm like, all right, now I got to make 9 chapters, right? So I'm in the middle of like the 3rd set of 9. A little bit of a hold up. I got a bunch of cool stuff going on, but it's just on the side. But that one was intended to be a song. Really, that's what I wrote it as. I have yet to figure out how to make that happen. Maybe.
Oh, I know. My money's on you. You can make anything happen, Pat.
Yeah.
Patrick, I know your mom helped contribute to Project 9 Line.
Fact.
What are some of the things you did to raise money for this?
Well, I'll tell you, I went to my mom's house for Thanksgiving dinner while I was still a patient in the VA, right? Like I could leave and come back at my will. And I created a PowerPoint and a business plan. I went to my mom's and had dinner with her and her boyfriend, Paul. And I shared with them what my intentions were. And she lent me a little bit of money to start. Starting a nonprofit isn't cheap. So I invested that money into chocolate and I melted it down and made chocolate-covered pretzels and heart-shaped chocolate lollipops.
Way to go.
And went and sold them at Valentine's Day fairs to make the startup funds.
That is fabulous for this 501c3. Yeah. So let's talk about this 501c3. I'm excited because you have so many different programs and so many different ways to appeal.
Yeah.
So first, I guess it brings everybody together.
The camaraderie, that's key.
That's key. That, and you also said before communication. Let's talk about purpose. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the different events, and then maybe you'll be a little more specific. I have seen that there's guitar. You had a guitar workshop.
We teach veterans how to play guitar, and just a few weeks back, 4 Vietnam vets, 2 of which had never played guitar before in their life until our program, 2 had dabbled over the years, performed for the first time in front of people at our family fun day at the horse ranch, which supports our free horseback riding program.
That's 2.
So here they are. It was a defining moment for me because here was musicians that learned to play and performing in front of people. And there was like 800 people at Family Fun Day. So they had a nice crowd.
Now, this doesn't cost the veterans any money?
No, none of our programs do.
Nothing. Okay. Where can they find out about this? How do they get to you?
Project9line.org. And then they could, our phone number is on there. Our website is on there. We just took over a whole building, actually.
I know the address too, right?
Yeah.
This is in Islip?
It's in Islip.
Union Street. Right?
Union Avenue. It's a DAV hall, which is Disabled American Veterans. It's been vacant for 5 years. So we're renovating it now because they kind of just stopped coming. So the pipes needed to get, they didn't winterize it. We're completely renovating the building right now as we speak. And we're moving up most of our programs there. We have wellness programs, art-based programs.
I have more. You have painting, music, Reiki.
Yeah.
Right? You have that. You have martial arts.
Yeah.
And now you gave me a sheet with even more information.
This is what we're doing right now.
Yeah. You want to share a little bit?
Sure. We've created over 15 programs in 2.5 years. And we do martial arts called Vets MMA at the UFC gym in Farmingdale. That's actually a paper I wrote in grad school last semester. We brought it to life really fast. We do horseback riding for veterans and their families, guitar, songwriting, stand-up comedy actually is a really big one.
I'm glad you mentioned that because you're going to be doing that shortly.
We have a whole wellness program that includes Reiki, yoga, meditation, mindfulness. We teach veterans how to do Reiki so they can be practitioners. We're teaching veterans to be yoga instructors and certification classes so they can be entrepreneurs in the community. Tennis, yeah.
This is amazing. We have a
book writing program going on right now. We have breakdancing coming in the new building when we're there.
Love it.
Yeah, it's pretty
cool. Now, if people want to volunteer their time to teach these classes,
we're more than happy to have them. I mean, we have a little vetting process, and then we put together a game plan, and then put it into action, see if there's interest, make a flyer, get it out to our network. That's how all of our programs have kind of come from, just great Americans who really want to help in this community fight, and we're all just one team.
One team?
Yeah.
One fight.
You already know. That's my signature on all my emails.
I
one
got
team,
that.
one fight.
Patrick, are they all at this place or are they at different locations? And how much time do they devote? I know the comedy workshop could be 10 weeks.
Yeah.
The writing might be less than that.
It's a year long, the book writing program. It's a year long.
There you
right?
go. There you go.
They're going to be writing books. All these potential writers who have had ideas, some of them for years, some of them just recently. They're in the process of meeting every 2 weeks and writing books.
I love
That's
it.
amazing.
And now we're in for a big treat. I know that you are performing for the next 3 nights, but right now we're going to have you do some comedy. So I'm going to kind of mosey off stage and give you a chance to show your stuff.
Yeah. I'll just sit and do it. I never did that before, right? I got to be comfortable.
I'll move
I got to be
over.
comfortable doing comedy anywhere. Some of my jokes might not be for this audience, and that's okay. I've told a completely clean set before because we performed at high school not long ago. And when my mom's here, I don't really like to curse, so I've done sets in front of her, and I don't like to say dirty things. So I'll just tell some cool stories I've been starting to integrate into my act. Laughter really is the best medicine, it is. And no one ever told the VA that, though. I went in there, I had a runny nose, and I left for like 17 medications. I mean, I walked out with a sack. Literally, my back hurt. I had to go back the next day and get more medication. And I have a son, he's 6 years old. And he usually comes home from school, gets milk, cookies, plays video games, right? But the other day he came home and he wanted to go right outside, which was odd. My brother rents the apartment above my garage, and he's got 2 big dogs. So in order for Ace to go outside and play, Timmy's got to clean up the dog poop. So Uncle Timmy goes outside, and he picks up one pile, and he picks up another, and then Ace hits me. That's my son's name, Ace. And he's like, Dad. I'm like, what, Ace? He's like, you see that one he's going for? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that one was me. So let me get this straight, Ace. You did that before school, didn't tell anybody about it. Just so Uncle Timmy could pick it up. He's like, yup. I'm like, how do you know we clown on Uncle Timmy like that? It's natural. His name is actually 101, my son. He was born on base. His first name is Benjamin. If you're familiar with money, you know what a Benjamin is. His middle name is Ace. If you ever play cards, you know what that is. 101. And those initials are BAD. B-A-D. Pretty cool kid. So my daughter's beautiful, right? She's 13. And I noticed lately some of these little boys are like creeping by my house and stalking my house and stuff, right? The other day I opened up the door and there's 15 kids camped out. Like my house was the Apple store and the new iPhone was coming out. So I got a lot of energy, as you can tell. Wasn't always such a great thing. Back in 7th grade, they actually made my mom come to school with me for an extended period of time and sit behind me in class for me to be able to go anymore. True story.
Wow.
So in basic training, you must stand still many times in formation without moving, right? And I told this drill sergeant who didn't believe me that I couldn't physically stand still. It's not possible, I told him. And he didn't believe me, and he made me do push-ups. So by like week 4 or 5, I mean, I was the best at doing push-ups. Fact. So then I got to thinking, like, how do I not do this for another 10 weeks, right? And it hit me. I was like, I'm going to get him, right? So the next time I saw him walking up, before he got there to tell me to do push-ups, I dropped and started doing them. I just kept pushing. I did that for about 2 days, right? About 20 different formations. Before he got there, I'm pushing already every time. He got mad. I see it. Finally, after about 48 hours of that, he had had enough. And he walked up and he said, Donahue! He's like, get up! Right? So now he's telling me not to do push-ups, right? I won that one. He didn't know it was my plan. Never again did I have to stand still. And never again did I do a push-up for not standing still. I got him.
Oh, Patrick,
Yeah,
I want
that's
to
it.
thank
That's
you.
it.
All right, Patrick, so once you get well, how do you stay well? How do we keep this going? You said it's not easy, so help me out here.
What I do, I spend most of my life helping others. And for me, I get the most out of it, really.
Love that.
So from day one, Project 9 Line helped me, and it continues to. And now I participate in a lot of things I never did before. Comedy, poetry. I sung a song last vet stock. I do martial arts. We did the horseback riding. I never thought I'd be a stand-up comic. People are paying me to tell jokes. Stupid me, I've been doing that for free for 34 years. Honestly, I'm a little upset with myself.
So it's in adversity that you find out about yourself. Who are you?
Yeah. Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person that likes to do a lot of stuff that is hard and overcome it. And there's so much strength that comes over it. I meditate a lot, a few times a day. My phone reminds me, thank God. It just says breathe. And I take a minute and reset. And then I actually do like a few. I wish I could do it more. Meditation is so important.
It's helping you. You're stepping outside the box. You're learning new things. You're taking the adversity and you're turning it into something really positive.
Yeah.
Tell me about Vetstock, because I know you're excited about it. We have a quick video, so just tell me a little bit about it, please.
Vetstock is the world's only veterans music festival, where the veterans are the performers. Last year, it's run 2 years now. This will be year 3, October 15th, right here in Suffolk County. Last year we had 28 veteran acts perform, 4 stages, all genres, all day, all night. Veterans came free. We fed everyone all day. The community came out, supported the veterans. They communicated through the arts, which is our mission. It's just it's a beautiful, beautiful event. And actually, I met my wife at Woodstock '99. So
really?
I have 3 beautiful Woodstock babies. So it's very, very much close and personal to me.
You're going to come back and share all those stories with me.
No, I can't share all those stories.
Some of them. Now, in this video, one of my friends, County Executive Steve Ballone, is in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to set it up or it's pretty self-explanatory. We can just go right to it.
Yeah, go right to it.
We'll go right to this video, please.
It's great to be here at the first Vetstock in Bayshore and Suffolk County in Long Island, and you know, it's just a really unique organization, Project 9 Line. Working through the arts and entrepreneurship, Patrick is helping to tap in and finding what's best about our veterans, and it's just a great way to say thank you to them for everything they've done for us, for our country, and for me to be here to support this man and this great endeavor is, you know, easily, you know, one of the best things I could possibly do in my time as county executive. So I'm just thrilled to be here.
Thanks so much.
Great job.
Patrick, closing, I would like to give some more advice. Some of the situations, some of the veterans will say, well, you know what, you don't understand. What is your comment to that? How do you address it?
You know, we can focus on the disparities, or we can focus on the things that are similar, right? They'll never understand, just like I don't understand some things that you went through. Okay, and that's, you know, it is what it is. We'll never change that. We have a lot of similarities, though. If we focus on those, then we can find common ground.
I love
We
that.
can figure our way through it together.
And not let pride get in our way.
Pride will kill you.
Yeah.
It's
So
almost killed me a
communication.
ton of times
Communication then is key.
on any level with
And-
anybody.
And Winston Churchill's advice, never give up.
Yeah.
Let's close together with our slogan, shall we? Can we get a little closer for
Oh
this?
yeah.
And ready, set, go.
One team, one fight.